Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's Thursday, November 21st, 2024, and it's 6:30. So we're starting on time. So the first thing I'll do is roll call. Terry Warner,
Here.
Matthew McGovern,
Here.
Laura Sanchez Fowler,
Here.
Mike McLeod,
Here.
and Sam Houston Clinton. I don't see him on.
He's not on there.
Okay, so he's not here. So if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag. Honor
The Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And please remain standing for the invocation, and our treasurer will do that.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we have together tonight to discuss the business of this small town. I pray, dear Lord, that you give us wisdom in the decisions that are made. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, and we do have one public comment. Mary Beth Harper.
Always. Okay, y'all have on your table there information about the tree light. It's supposed to be in city bills. I don't know if y'all got this already.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, all right. Okay, the downtown tree lighting is Friday, December 6th, and usually it's about from 5 to 8 p.m. And this is the Friday after Thanksgiving, first weekend. Santa's gonna, throws around and with the Montreal Volunteer Fire Club, route is on the back of your, yeah. And it's time approximate, very approximate. Anyway, follows around and eventually gets back downtown about 6:15 or so. He'll come on board Model T. And he's gonna listen to all the children's beside their wish list. And the parents can take pictures of Santa while he's up on the Model T, of the child with Santa. Vendors will be set up inside a Crook store, 413 Main Street. They have all kinds of items for sale. Also, there's gonna be a face painter this year for the first time. And also snacks and beverages will be for sale. Okay, inside the library, there's a Christmas movie. I don't know what it is yet, and those will be shown. Also, there's crafts for kids. Okay, second thing on here is your agenda item 3.5, where y'all are going to discuss this Friday. Y'all need to explain what is legally required of the Martindale Hall Library. Okay, this is on your other handout, on this yellow on the drive. Okay, this yellow form right here, this was a contract from last year, and it's signed by the mayor and jury. This is November 16th, 2023. And down here on item C, what's legally required. And y'all are asking for a whole lot more than that. Okay, on the next page right there. Oh, excuse me. On the green sheet, the top part of the nonprofit organizations have to make their financial statements available to the public, and this is up by RS Form Online, and this is posted online for y'all to see. And there's a short form postcard size thing when they got less than 50,000 in revenue, and then the long form is when you have more than 50,000. And we filed the long form in 2022 and 2023. Mr. McGovern spotted some discrepancies on there. And we now have a bookkeeper. We had to pay for her she's going to be looking that over. Okay, next thing that we're legally required is the Texas Business Organization Code. First one, that 352, that lists all the information that we are required to have. Our former CPA was, a lady that worked for the city, was retired from the city and then started working for the library for free. She figured out all the city's books. I figured what else she gave to y'all, she gave to us too. She's very honest though. But she's resigned from the library now, is living in Hawaii. Anyway, there's all the things that she said we were required to have. Okay, there's a lot of part down there, business code 353. Okay, this has to be available for 3 years. Okay, we have that. And finally, the corporation shall make the records, books, and reports available to the public for inspection and copy at the corporation's registered or principal office during regular business hours. That means you need to come to the library during hours. And then the corporation may charge a reasonable fee for preparing a copy of the report. And the Secretary of State on Texas Code said that we've been charged for reasonable fee, and that's for the labor, materials, and overhead for printing all this stuff out. And that's under Texas Code 552-261. That's what we're legally required to provide. Okay, as far as grants, okay, the library is a 501c3 corporation. We're a nonprofit. We're not a division of the city. City does support us to pay for our library director's salary. Then the Texas State Library and Archives Commission also requires the local government to support the library so we can be accredited. Accreditation allows us to apply for large grants, both state and federal. For example, the E-rate that we get provides downtown with free Wi-Fi, and there's many other grants that we have. So we provide programs for all members of the community, from babies up through senior citizens, like story time, summer reading, the health fair, kite day, all kinds of stuff. Okay, some folks in Martindale want to close the library. And also there's a big gossip line running in Martindale. I don't know if y'all knew that. Okay, 3 or 4 years ago, some special tables, adjustable tables were purchased for the library through a grant, went out library money. Okay, anyway, the tables cost $2,000. Next thing we know, it said that the library spent $20,000 on tables. They didn't give them. Then the next conversation said it was $40,000, and that we had to pay for these tables. They were only $2,000 and adjustable. And that story's still going around too. Okay, now grants are specific. Okay, these are used to purchase books, library items, computers, shelves, summer reading program, other special programs also. But we cannot depend on grant money. There's no guarantee that we get this grant money every year. They say the Shell Foundation XYZ, a really large foundation, has both large grants and small grants. Okay, the city would apply probably for grants of $100,000 to $1 million range. The library would probably apply for a $200 grant. Say if we were going to apply for ecology lessons for the river, that would be about $200. Okay, now because Martindale is such a small city, as the city applied to this corporation, we apply to this corporation, they would not fund either one of us. So that's something to consider. Okay, some grants award extra compensation for
Ms.
the library.
Harper, are you just about done? Because
I
you're
am
well
almost
over
done.
your 3
I'm
minutes.
almost done.
Okay.
I'm not here. Okay, there's extra compensation for the library director and the grant administrator. Not all grants do that. The extra compensation is for them to file paperwork. They have reports they have to report, file. They have to keep a budget for the grant and have to purchase items related to the grant. And our grant administrator resigned recently, so we'll not have a successful grant writer in the future. I am through.
Thank you very much. And we're looking forward to the tree lighting. Okay, next citizen comment is Stephanie Carl.
I'm very unprepared. I'm just gonna talk off the cuff. Y'all, I'm new around here, not new to Martindale, but new to Martindale, city limits, property owner. And definitely new to city politics. And I don't know the history. I welcome you guys to let me know how things have gone in the past. I'm sure this is not the first time that this has been brought up, but I think it's time that Martindale begins seriously considering having the position of the mayor be a paid position. I'm not talking about getting rich. I'm not talking about, you know, having most of your livelihood come from that. But time is money, right? We all know this. And with the current setup that we have, we are severely limiting ourselves to mayoral candidates who are retired or are financially privileged, right? And so I feel like I think it's worth discussing. And like I said, I don't know the history, or I know that this has been a topic on the table before. But I think that it's worth revisiting that, as there are a lot of people like myself and my peers and my generation who are now raising children in Martindale and have a vested interest as property owners and as community members. And, but would not be able to participate in city government because of the time commitment. I don't have to tell you guys what the commitment is. And so, yeah, I would welcome private conversations with all of you to know the history of this and really how we pursue this, how we can try to diversify our leadership. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna skip around a little bit. I'm gonna go to the wastewater report, and then we're gonna go directly to the audit. I keep saying budget, I mean audit. But so Pete, let's do your report so I don't keep you here all night.
And do both of them together. I'll do
Okay.
this one first and elaborate a little bit on the station.
Okay, yes.
I'm gonna do the report for October. It's kind of old news, but a lot of this stuff already got done. It was from the Crockett Lift Station. And to start off with the Martindale Apartments, everything was good there. The Madison Lift Station, so we had that last, we had a power outage. And then we had the power restored by Blue Bonnet. Fuse that got knocked down out of the pole and stuff. And at the Crockett Lift Station, that's when all that stuff went on last month. We replaced that one pump. We're trying to get bids to try to do the pump hole and put the other pump in there. Still working on that. And we at the wastewater plant, we recirculated the effluent at the pond. We had more to the ponds, and then we collected our samples for the month and the pH. And we also got all our readings for the influent and calculated all the flows. And we checked the wiring on the pumps, on all the panels, controls. We have about 3 feet of freeboard in the pond. And we irrigated 3,200 gallons last month. And then at the lift station, we got about, I think it was like 541,531 gallons for the month. And then we averaged about 38,681 gallons. And the maximum flow was 128,700. So the minimum flow was 18,000 gallons. And now I'm gonna go ahead and go jump into the Madison Lift Station.
Okay,
We had some electrical issues there about 2-3 weeks ago there. And we had a power surge and it knocked out 2 of the starters and pumps. It had us scared for a little bit because we thought we had pumps that got knocked out. It was just the starters, so the parts we had to replace. And we got one pump going. And we gotta pull out the other pump tomorrow.
Okay.
To get it tested. You gave me instruction already, but.
Yeah.
So. And but the pump station is running and we had to pull 3 loads of wastewater out of there at the beginning when this happened. So after that, we didn't have to use wastewater transporter because we got that pump on. So anybody have any questions?
so we did have some expenses. If you want to see some scared, nervous people, that Monday, Jared and I and Javi, I had to leave, but Jared and Javi ran over to the lift station over here to see what was going on. And yeah, we were scared. We thought the pumps had went out, and we could hardly believe it. So luckily it was the electrical box. So we had $2,197 in the wastewater transport. We had 2,310 for the electrical work that had to be done. We had 500 that just came in today from the fluid meter to test things out and stuff. And then we had that 1,415 in extra expenses because it was all on the weekend and stuff that we had to pay Pete overtime for. So it was a total of $6,422.71. So actually, we feel like we got off a lot cheaper than what we thought was gonna happen.
That's what
We'll see about that second pump.
Yeah, because the good news that there was a pump that was there along the fence. That one is good, but we're gonna have to do some maintenance on it. Get that stud bolt out of that J box. It's broken, because if we put it in there, water's gonna go inside the pump and it's gonna short it. So it's better to play it safe. If we fix it and put it in the hole we have to. So, but to make a correction about the fluid meter, that was for calibration for the flow meter at the wastewater. plant.
Oh, at the wastewater plant.
Yeah, that's something we do
Okay.
every year. It's just something we gotta do for the permit of CCEQ.
Okay. Okay, I'll take that on. Does anybody have any questions for Pete before he leaves?
Status on the rocket, installation, getting those quoted and contracted. I know I've been out of office, so. I'm-
Yeah, I haven't had any luck, Jared, with that. I have to really dig deep into finding a contractor because
Okay,
there was one that I thought I had, but he bailed out.
okay,
So I'm gonna keep on looking.
all right.
And I'm gonna order that pump bowl as well. The guy's supposed to call me back. That extra one you
If
want.
we need to talk to our engineers, because they use some, bid hosting website, I'm happy to make that connection if you don't,
Okay.
or if you want to email, Gary or Tom and see if they'll help you out and figure out how to post it, and something that
I'll put it
Javi
on
or
verbiage in.
somebody on staff can do.
Okay, that'll work.
We can try to post it on a site that's
Yeah,
regularly
they got
monitored.
they got another way out. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Be quicker.
Just let me know what it is. Reach out to them, see if you can have a
I'll
conversation
talk to 'em.
tomorrow, and then let me know, and then we can get Javi on it on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had a meeting today with Langford.
Yeah.
And they're going out to bid today.
Yeah, on the other stuff.
Oh, the wastewater plant.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. But I'll get on that tomorrow. Anything else? Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pete.
Appreciate it.
We lose that pump good, that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is Langford bidding on?
Oh, for the grant. We're
The
ready to go
posting.
out. They've done all
Soliciting proposals.
proposals
For,
for the wastewater grant that we have.
oh, yes, ma'am, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. The one that we talked about last time.
Yeah.
You can't just say grant.
I know, we have a lot of grants, and I was going, wait a minute, which one now?
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go right into our audit report, and we have Sam, and I forgot your last name.
Hazen.
Hazen
Yeah.
from Haney and Company, and at your place, we gave you a written copy of the audit.
Yes, and it's my understanding that this report was provided electronically to the city council. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes going over some key points in the financial statements, and then open it up to y'all in case you have any questions or comments or anything of the sort. So we're going to start with page 2 of the financial statements. So this is the independent auditor's report. So once we've gone through and done the procedures and have gained a reasonable assurance on things, we will issue an opinion. So our opinion with the fiscal year 2023 audit is we have audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city of Martindale, Texas, as of and for the year ended September 30th, 2023, and the related notes to the financial statements, which collectively comprise the city's basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city as of September 30th, 2023, and the respective changes in financial position and, where applicable, cash flows thereof for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. In layman's terms, we have 4 opinions that we can do. And so in layman's terms, y'all had a clean audit. We didn't find anything material that would alter anything here in the financial statements. And it was a pretty clean audit. So that's good there. So if we can continue on to page 5. And so page 5, this is the financial highlights. So this will summarizes a lot of the key points that I want to make this evening. And so the first one is the city's total combined net position was $3,419,690 at September 30th, 2023. And so this was an increase of just under $181,000 from 2022, which is a very nice increase to see. And then the next point, revenues generated from taxes and other revenues for governmental activities was $1,149,013, which that increased about $112,000 from the prior year, which is always good to see as well, an increase in revenue. The city's governmental fund expenses were $894,618, which was actually a decrease of almost $100,000, which also is very good to see, especially in this day and age where things are costing a lot more. So seeing a decrease in expenditures is very good to see. Revenues generated from charges for services and other revenue for business type activities was $331,673, which was an increase of about $10K from the prior year. And then the city's business type activities fund expenses were $405,077. And so that was an increase of about $36,000 from the prior year. And then the general fund reported a fund balance of $351,441, which was an increase of $75,561 compared to the prior year. And then of the $351,441 amount, $54,315 is restricted for municipal court security, and the remaining $297,126 is unassigned. And then the utility fund reported a net position of $1,229,900, which was a decrease of $51,324 compared to the prior year. And then of that amount, $1,293,871 is a net investment in capital assets, net of related debt. And then $40,049 is restricted for customer deposits. And the remaining $104,020 is unrestricted. And then the city is substantially debt-free. The city does, however, have significant liability of $281,401 to the state of Texas as a result of legislative mandate that requires cities having traffic fine revenues exceeding a specified percentage of total city revenues pay an additional amount to the state. The city of Martindale has pledged and is applying 20% of its sales tax revenue towards this liability. And so that has been on the books for several years now, and it has been being paid down over the course of the year. So that number has been decreasing.
Question on that third bullet.
Yes.
Is that a typo? The increase of $755,000.
The actual report says 75. That's a draft.
Thank you.
Oh, am I looking at the draft? Okay,
Okay.
got it.
This is 75, right?
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Okay, but that didn't, yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know what you're
Okay.
That
That's
was
why you
freaking
went,
me out for a
that's
minute.
why you went to
Do
it
we,
so fast.
Yeah.
you don't have the final.
No, I've got the final in my email though. I can
Okay.
forward these. The signed one, yeah.
When he was reading it, I was like, that's
I'm
not the
looking at that
number.
too, Bob. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to.
You were at 75,000.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
like
This must be a previous iteration.
It's a draft,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, so, yeah, in the draft, that was a typo that was not caught. in the final, it says 75,000, so I'm sure y'all can see that in the report. All right, perfect.
It's here.
Yes, you gotta love the fat finger when you're typing. Okay. We'll skip ahead here to we'll skip ahead to page 9. So this is the statement of net position. And so this summarizes, in layman's terms, this is the balance sheet for the city as a whole. So this includes all the government activities and the business type activities. And so this is more of a breakdown of the numbers that I went over just a few pages ago. So you can see a lot of that reflected here in this schedule. I'm not going to spend too much time going over specific numbers just because I feel like we've already hit the major highlights in the report. And since y'all have been provided the report and have had a chance to look over, I feel like now would be a good time to just turn the report over to, or turn the time over to y'all for any questions or comments that you have on the financials. Yeah, I know the report's close to 60 pages, so I didn't feel like we needed to go over every single page, just hit
Yeah,
some
we do.
highlights.
Let's start at page 1.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, if you want to be here all night, I'm more than happy to.
We do like the graphics. It's really nice.
Thank you.
So how many cities do you do this kind of thing for?
Let me think. Think about
Roughly?
roughly like 5 or 6.
So are they cities that are around our saying like a small rural town, or are they just all different kinds of?
There's been a lot of them are small and rural.
Mhm.
There was one that's an exception that was just outside of Austin.
Mhm.
That one was a little bigger, but a lot of them have been comparable as
Mhm.
far as the size of y'all.
So then, is it usual, unusual, whatever, I don't know? How would you rank the idea that we carry almost no debt? Is that a typical situation? Do most towns balance or leverage debt against growth, or?
Yeah, so it is atypical for a city to have no debt. A lot of these smaller cities, they do have debt, but that is to help maintain some of the operations
Infrastructure.
and the infrastructure that they have.
Mhm.
So y'all only have 4 funds. A lot of cities will tend to have 10 plus funds. And so just to make sure that they're able to keep operating, just because their revenue streams are so limited,
Right.
they rely heavily on grants. I mean, y'all have grants too, but they do rely on debt to
Mhm.
purchase equipment, machinery, just for the infrastructure of the city.
I was just curious because this is the only city I know.
Yeah.
We have other cities that have more utilities than us, like we only have a wastewater.
Yeah, so a lot of other cities will have some sort of electrical component and things like that. So they're,
Water.
yeah, water. So yeah, there are other items within the infrastructure that those cities do have to maintain. So y'all are blessed that you only have the one in that regard. So it is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to see something interesting, go pull the water company's financials.
I've heard.
Lot of debt.
I've heard.
It's, yeah, it's this thick of stuff. Just a little.
I do have a question on, I think it's page 14, the hard copy, page 20 in the PDF. And we're looking at comparing the government activities and business type activities.
okay.
I'm sorry, did you say 14 in this one?
14 in the hard copy, 20 on the PDF.
And-
Looking at assets, and it appears that there's a deficit in the business type activities, a positive on the government activities, like as if there's a transfer or a debt owed from one fund to the other.
Yeah.
I think this has been happening over several years.
It's a residual.
Growing.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
We
we talked about this last year.
talked about it last year, it's still growing, and then I get concerned when we look at the bottom of the net position
Mhm.
unrestricted with a deficit of $100,000. Is that, obviously, we're not looking. What sheet should I look on for like the cash balances on these to see if, is that being reflected in our cash balance somehow, or?
Yeah, so it's a combination of the cash balances and then what's known as the due to, due from accounts.
Okay,
And so with government accounting, each type of government or business line will have its own fund.
Yeah.
And I know with a lot of the, I guess the bank accounts and things like that, a lot of times the funds are intermingled.
yeah, so our utility fund owes the general fund $78,000.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's been on the books for,
It keeps
A long time.
keeps growing somehow.
okay. I don't borrow money from the general fund to,
Like, I think last year's were on the order of, 50 something, year before like 40
Yeah.
something, year before.
So it could be as, I'm not saying this is the culprit, but something that we have found is just with, I guess, the system in place with when, I guess, bills are paid by citizens and things like that. Sometimes they're not deposited into the utility fund, they're deposited into the general fund.
Okay,
Or something of that nature. And so a lot of times, that's why governments have the due to, due from accounts, is so that way they can keep track of if they have to deposit the funds in, or deposit money into a specific fund,
Yeah.
they can keep track of, okay, we do need to transfer this at some point. So at the end of the day, the total like on page 14, for example, the total column is
Mhm.
what you have. And so in collectively. And so the due to, due from is more of a nuance of to keep track of, okay, like, let's say at some point the utility fund is showing a deficit in that net position, but it's only because of the due to, due froms.
do you have any indication whether that's a reflection of how we have our chart of accounts established, or the way that we have processed, obviously this is fiscal year 23, have processed payroll, all payroll coming out of the general fund, but it's being reimbursed by the utility fund? That's a due to, due from kind of scenario.
Yeah, that's exactly a due to, due from scenario. And so it could just be a residual from,
Yeah, last year was 68. Thanks for the question.
yeah, so it could be a combination of the residual just from that payroll transfer not being done in a timely manner, or like I mentioned earlier, if citizen pays and, like, let's say, because I know at least for credit card payments, you have different terminals for different types of payments. So if one terminal isn't working, like let's say for the utilities fund, you have to use one for the general fund.
When
And so
does,
there might be,
if we've seen a steady growth in the internal balance over time, at some point, I feel like that would become an issue.
yes, at some point, I would,
And did you guys sample those transactions at all to dig into it, or is that part of the?
so part of our
process?
procedures is just making sure that the due to, due from balances actually do net
Balance.
out to zero.
Okay,
And so at the end of the day, it is up to the city to make sure that those transfers actually do occur.
so that would be
But-
something that would have any weight or concern in the statement of findings from you as an audit firm then?
Yeah. So we just want to make sure that, yeah, the due to, due froms balance out, and then that there are enough funds for those transfers to actually occur. And since, because your revenue's been increasing, cash has been increasing, things like that, we aren't as concerned with that balance grow. Obviously, if it grows significantly, obviously something needs to be done. But as long as you're, I guess, having a positive net, or having more revenue than expenditures, if you keep having net income each year, it is not as big of an issue as one might think.
Okay, and then quickly run me through the unrestricted net position of $200,000. What does that represent?
Can you,
So on that same page, the
Page
bottom of the
14.
page, bottom of page 14 has the current net position, net investments and capital assets. That's hard infrastructure, I'm imagining.
mhm,
And it totals out on the far right column to $2.8 million.
mhm.
Then it has restricted, which I know we maintain restricted funds. I'm surprised that the restricted fund restrictions are 290, almost 295. I'm wondering where that's how that's being calculated out of the assets above. Because these things should like net up from, assets minus liabilities equals net position,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what's the other chart? We have a cash, that's statement of activities. Here's balance sheet. So if we if we compare page 16
Mhm.
to page 14, the top of page 16, cash and cash equivalents, we have $900,000 across all funds.
Mhm.
And then, but we go back to page 14 and our net position unrestricted is 200,000. I know it's looking at a cash balance and a net asset thing you're looking at different math.
Yeah.
But what number should we be concerned with in terms of like, if we start looking at making significant investments with the cash balances that we have,
Mhm.
do we need to be concerned about that net position number only being $200,000?
At the end of the day, or sorry, go ahead.
Very much so have to worry about that.
Yeah. So you do need to worry about the net position to an extent. Obviously, you don't want that number to go negative.
Like we have in our utility fund, business type activities.
Yes, but I mean, as far as like the total column, like you do not want that to go negative.
Mm-hmm.
So you can focus on that, and then the cash, I guess a good business practice, well, I mean, obviously you're not a business, but a good organizational practice would be just to make sure that any expenditures that are made with the cash don't exceed what your net position is. That would be my recommendation.
But the things you're spending cash on, I think that you're referring to would actually be assets.
Do we convert?
Yeah.
They would still be assets.
Yeah, and so I know governmental accounting is very different from your typical business accounting, just with the good old modified accrual. And so that's why that net investment in capital assets is so important to really understanding your total net position. Just because with the modified accrual, those assets are typically not reflected, especially in the utility fund.
Okay.
Or sorry, in the government funds.
So 927. From other. Why don't my assets not match up? Is it because, current assets? Should I be comparing page 14 with page 16 at all? Because in my mind, it's not making sense. I'm just looking at like current assets, total 927, and then I go to 16, total assets, all government funds, 1.2.
So with page 16, you do need to factor in the GASB 34 conversion. And so that is what the information on the bottom does.
Okay,
So if you look there at the bottom, the net position of your government activities, that equals the 2,189,000. Are you able to see that? So I know that the top can be a little
okay.
misleading on page 16,
So
but
then-
if you look at the bottom there, that does tie to your total net position on page 14.
Got it. 2.1.
Yeah, because that's another fun thing with governmental accounting is, yeah, there's a conversion that needs to be made to take it from modified accrual to full accrual. And so on page 16, you're seeing that modified accrual, and then page 14 is the full accrual.
Okay,
So I know that isn't intuitive. That's just good old governmental accounting for you.
got it.
It thinks means we're in a good position considering we have that
Yeah.
liability, $200-something thousand, $280,000 as of the beginning of September. last
Yeah.
year. Because that's not due, if you will, it's being taken out, so it's not like it's a note. It's just shorting our revenue on it, which we've already been impacted by for over 10 years now.
Mhm.
So it's a built-in problem, if you will.
But it's kind of self-reducing.
Exactly, yeah.
No, I was with you, and then I lost you, Dwayne. When you said it's self-reducing, what?
Because it's a debt to the state that's being reduced by revenue from the state.
Gotcha.
So instead of getting $100, we get 80 for, so
Yep.
it's,
Could you,
it's gotta be there, but even if we were negative, it would not, in theory, be bad for us per se, but so it's even better that it's positive
Mhm.
because that is still there. So the net position, and a lot of these big numbers, if you really look at it, is land. The city has quite a bit of land in the city,
Mhm.
and so that's $1.3 million
Mhm.
is land. So, and we can't sell it per se, most of it was
FEMA.
FEMA restricted, so it's ours, it's an asset. In theory, borrow against it if you really wanted to, but, it's just, it's not buildable, it's not something we can sell and make money on. So, it's just it's like little monopoly thing on there, and it looks nice.
Good questions, Jared.
sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I'd rather you
Yeah,
ask the hard questions than just me stand up here and look pretty.
we're just more concerned about that.
Well, you're doing
one.
that well.
Thank you.
That one negative number going there, that's the one we see, the unrestricted going.
Yeah.
It was always growing, and at some point, we're gonna have to make that go away, or not let it grow too big.
What was our cash and cash equivalents in 22 on our audit report? You mentioned you had it up in the utility fund. So I was curious. I know we often scrape by, and this is on page 19 on the hard copy, page 25.
It's usually just nip and tuck. I'm getting it
Yeah.
up in here.
A cash
It's just-
cash and cash equivalents of $24,000 isn't great.
Well, it's not great, and it's one of those things, it's an enterprise, and we charge what it costs to provide the service, so you're never gonna accumulate a bunch of money in it. The only way you will is by raising utility rates or
Well,
deferring maintenance.
the concern that you have is, our accounts receivable for the year, those are unpaid, right? The 18,000 are accounts receivable not yet paid.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
1 month's billing, yeah.
So that's 1 month's billing. So we're like a billing cycle away from going cash negative if we screw up a billing cycle.
Well, that's why we raised the rate. last year.
Yeah.
That's why we raised the rate last year, was because of that. Because this is end of 23.
Yeah.
That's why we raised it, was because of that. You brought that same point up. We were doing the budget. We were
Last-
saying that,
Last year, there was $15,000.
So it's improved.
Mm.
It's improved.
but we
some.
rate, yeah, we
But
raised. the
today,
rate.
it's not good.
Today it's not good.
After all of the lift station repairs.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, I'm sure we're.
The
We're
utility
deep
fund,
into
the utility department is continually not meeting,
Yeah.
even with grants.
And there are, significant money, like $70,000 it's accumulated to, that's due the
Yeah.
general fund from prior years, but a large part of that is because the transfers to cover the payroll
Mhm.
of the utility desk were not done like 6, 8 years ago when we had a mess on the desk over there. And that was accounted for by them, but it was never
Cleaned up.
transferred. And there's not the cash to transfer it.
I guess,
You're
yeah,
seeing,
yeah, on page 21 on the hard copy, you can kind of see the money brought in, the money going out,
Mhm.
and we have an operating loss, then we cover it. No, how's that work? We have a negative.
no,
Oh, cause, on, page, sorry. Page 21 hard copy, page 27 on the PDF. You see at least at the top, it's easy to understand the utility fund cash flows.
Mhm.
And where we end up. The bottom half, I was trying to figure out, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it's because it's a negative expense, which means money that's come in, I don't know. The operating income loss of 73,000. I don't know what time to understand that.
well, you've
but-
got a loss in the fund that's showing, and then you add back depreciation, because that's not a cash expense. And then your changes in accounts receivable. Is that the one that's coming to the negative 20,000? Or am I looking at the wrong page?
Yeah, net cash used for
Mhm.
operating activities, 20,000.
20,000, then it goes on down to,
60,
yeah.
and then get to the 24. Okay. I think I got it. Anything? We have the same for, special revenue fund.
So I know the governmental funds are usually.
Oh, they're combined.
Combined.
Okay, that's fine.
There is a column in here for special revenue though.
Let me,
It's on,
That would have been on the earlier pages.
oh yeah, here on page 17.
yeah. 17, it looks like the special revenue fund,
Got it.
what, brought in 51,000.
And then community. It's hard, also difficult, it's like, this is for a fiscal year that ended over a year ago.
Yeah, so for the community development fund, from what I remember is y'all received a grant and then that grant was mostly
Yeah.
expended.
in
So,
in the current new fiscal.
And that's right now,
yep.
One of the other things
the grant money is the.
we're looking at, is the pensions.
Yes,
Because we're in very good position on our pension obligations.
We're still overfunded. I don't know if we're on this report, but we are as of last month.
Yeah,
what page is that?
looks like it's
in the
starting
notes, way at the
on
end.
page 38. It just, that's where it's because of
Yeah.
the discussion of the discounting rates and other things, so. Yeah, our net pension liability, we're overfunded by 25,000.
Yeah, and, we,
That's on page 41.
when we got our last year's
40.
report, we adjusted the rate down to the minimum rate.
Yeah.
Because we're overfunded.
Yeah, so it'll take a little bit for,
And as of, I looked at it last month when I went through a TMRS training, still overfunded,
yeah.
and, so.
I can take that off your hands if you
Yeah.
need to get rid of it.
Well, what it,
Service to the community.
But you know, the investments can change.
yeah, yeah.
It's been a good
Think,
bear, or what is it, bull market.
Yeah.
Bull market. So,
What is in, the special revenue fund again?
Hotel tax mainly.
That's what I thought, okay.
Parking, well, I don't know if there'd have been parking in 23.
No,
No, it shouldn't be in there,
no.
right?
It is in the new year.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't in that year. Well, it was a couple months.
Yeah.
It's so technically it was very little.
Yeah.
But most of it, and there'd be some small.
Because it was in the general fund, is that correct?
We weren't charging for parking. Remember, this ended,
But you did have a couple of months.
yeah, ended July, so then ended July, August, so just a couple months. But yes, it did not have a restricted fund.
Where does it show that it's overfunded here?
Page 40.
Which one? The
Uh,
negative here?
The balance here.
Okay.
And then the bottom of that page shows you what would happen in different assumptions.
So I wonder why it's called a liability and it's overfunded. Seems like it would be an asset, but.
I guess, yeah, maybe. Maybe. What that means for council is it's not, when we're planning on hiring activities and our payroll, we might not have quite as high payroll expenses attributable to the benefits package that we have to pay. So we were paying like something like 11-12% of their salary into the defined benefits retirement account. We can probably taper that off to like.
Yeah, it's
8
down
or
to like
7.
5.75 now,
Yeah, so,
It's down to what?
5.75. less than that.
so what that does is it reduces the cost per employee or reduces our salary and wages costs. So we have a little more ability to put those funds in other uses or hire more staff.
But that's been reviewed every year.
Yeah. I think that's the last thing I was curious about.
Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, did he get on?
Yeah. It, like, the last,
right there.
the last conversation.
Might have to co-host him.
Right. Yep. I'm so proud of Sam for doing.
Computer techie guy.
Yeah,
You can't leave the computer.
I don't know if he did or, but
In case you'd like to say something, Sam, you can unmute yourself. You're our co-host.
yeah, he has to unmute himself.
He got it. Yeah, he
Okay.
just did it early, right now,
Briefly,
briefly, but he did.
say hi, Sam.
Okay, good. Okay, I don't have any questions now. No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to pass this audit.
Accept it.
Accept it. Anybody?
I make a motion that we accept the audit.
Okay,
How is easy?
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Okay, do we have to have a roll call vote on this? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that carries, and we thank you very much for driving down here. You can stay for the rest of the meeting if you like.
Do
Or-
what's popping is on fire tonight. Good luck finding parking out there.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'll leave y'all to it, but yeah, thank you for having me and it was a pleasure meeting y'all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
He said.
You're welcome to stay.
Have a good night.
I got a long drive.
Where you from?
San Antonio.
Oh, yeah, get out of here.
Thanks.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna skip around again. I'm gonna go to 3.4, the review of the submittal of qualifications for the municipal court collection service request for proposal. I see we have a guest in the audience who has come to see what we're gonna decide about this. We had 2 submittals, one from MVBA. I don't remember who the other one was.
Lang something.
Lineberger?
They have tipped
Oh,
their hand.
Lane, Lineberger.
Hold on. I just can't figure out what the point's at.
So we have a new judge, as everybody knows. And so we're gonna do collections on the outstanding, what do you call it? Warrants. That haven't been collected for years, actually.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Mayor, would you mind if I? kinda
One,
educate
121.
On the procedures, so that way they'll have some kind of an understanding, very briefly on procedures of how this all works?
I think I can take it.
Okay,
So we put out a statement of qualifications request for those who provide collection services. I think we explained it to City Council before, the way collection services work is we basically transfer the uncollected debts over to them to execute. And they collect a fee on top of whatever we charge, and anything that they collect, they pay our full, what's owed to us back, and they just collect off the top.
But
So we asked for statements of qualifications. Our assistant Javier went through each of those, provided some notes in your agenda packet tonight. Just kind of some similarities and differences, and at the end, we can make a recommendation. And these similarities are kind of expected, right? Both serve delinquent municipal court collections, provide data and compatibility with Encode, which is important for us to, because that's where our files are kept in that software format. So it makes it easier to transfer new cases over to them as we go along, either of them. And they comply with the rules and regulations, and they have fees based off of their competence. They're basically, if they collect, then and the rate is set by, or the maximum, I should say, set by statute, and they both have that maximum statutory rate. At the bottom of the page, you can see how the implementation somewhat varied in the method. No concerns there on the details, it's just, difference. The client portal, I think one of the interesting things with the MVBA is they provide an opportunity for us to see in real time what's happening with these cases. Linebarger has some client interfaces, but it wasn't as clear what that was. And then you can see the firm size and scope and who their marketplace is. So Linebarger is a national firm. MVBA is more Texas centric. And in their proposal, their statement of qualifications, they emphasized, local knowledge base and things. So what's not on this chart is, we hired a municipal judge who's had experience with MVBA at least, and was satisfied. and uses them currently in other municipalities. And I'll leave it at that. I think if I were to make a recommendation to council, it would be to go with MVBA because of the local connections and experience our municipal judge has with them. And that's for your consideration. Any questions? No questions. We can move on to other, well, make a decision. and then-
Yeah, between the two.
EBA, then let's go.
Okay, let's have a motion.
So I make a motion to nominate and award, BBA,
Yes.
for municipal court collection services.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Okay, hearing
I had a question.
Go ahead, Sam.
It said that Linebarger charges 30%. Did I see that? Did we know what MVBA charges?
Yeah, it's the same rate.
30%.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
But
thank you.
It's a statutory maximum, kind of like towing fees and other things. It's set by state agency and state statutes.
Okay, thank you.
I guess my question, what's the success rate of outstanding warrants like over a 5-year or a 2-year period? How many are the?
It varies depending on the courts, the size of the courts. I have the city of Utah. By the way, MVBA stands for McCreary, Vasselka, Bragg, Allen. They're a set of attorneys. Our corporate office is in Round Rock. We have offices all over the state of Texas. So it just varies from size to size on the courts. And we work for small, medium, large. It doesn't matter what size.
What would be the-
I would say a size of a court this size. I think the last time I talked to the court administrator, you guys had in there, in her room back there, there was probably, I think she said somewhere in the neighborhood of 550 outstanding warrants that are sitting in a file cabinet back there for an estimated dollar amount of about $160,000 that's sitting back there. So out of those 550, 560 cases, the tricky thing about it is a lot of these cases, they will get basically cleared because of community service or maybe defensive drive-in, different circumstances. But our main goal is to clear them out, to clear out that docket and to make sure that the judge's docket is reduced substantially, but at the same time, clearing those cases out. So I would say we could probably do, I'm not 100% sure, but in the neighborhood of about 60 to 75%.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Is there a statute of limitation?
The statute of limitations is if there's a complaint attached to the warrant, it's 2 years. Okay, if they're used, but if there is not a complaint, we're still working them regardless. And we have old cases in our office that we're clearing out every day, and we're clearing some out that go all the way back to the 90s.
Oh, really?
And the early 2000s. So really, there didn't used to be a statute of limitations, and there still really isn't, unless there's an individual that hires an attorney, and the attorney comes in and says, hey, there's not a complaint attached to this warrant. You need to just go ahead and get it dismissed and be done with it. So if that happens, then yeah, we really need to dismiss it and done with that one. But if no one knows, if John Doe doesn't know the law, and we have that thing in our office, we're still working. And that 30%, we're not charging the city of Martindale 30%. We're adding 30% on top of the original citation for the defendant. So you guys we're not charging you a dime. We're paying for all postage. We're doing all the texting. We're doing all the phone calls. We have a call center that houses 16 to 18 employees. And from 8 to 5, their sole responsibility is to contact these defendants and make sure that they understand they have a responsibility to the city of Martindale. And they need to get it cleared out because warrants have already been issued. And so we just implemented a new texting program a couple of years ago. And we live in today's world, no one wants to answer their phone. And everybody's texting. So we got hip to that. So we started texting them and they started answering. And they started contacting the court and saying, they were asking the court, hey, is this legit or is this spam? And the court responds, it's legit. You have an outstanding warrant in the city of Martindale. We highly recommend you come in here and take care of it. Once that happens, now we have a good number. Now we can start contacting them and we can make sure that they come in and take care of that responsibility. And because of that texting program that we implemented, we're closing out a heck of a lot of old cases that go back to the late 1990s and early 2000s. So this is a very, very good program. It doesn't cost you guys a dime. We're making all of our money off of the defendant. We're paying for all postage. We're paying for ink in the printers. We're paying for everything. All we ask is turn over your warrants to us and let us work them. We will clear out, we'll help clear out the judge's docket and we'll help clear out that 550 something cases, whatever is back there.
Wow.
And at the same time, that $160,000 that's sitting in there, we can collect that for you guys and you can apply it to the city of Martindale. I mean, that's just money back there that's just collecting dust.
What does that mean, a complaint attached to it?
It's the complaint that the police officer writes.
The ticket.
It's the ticket itself.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And then-
So if you get if I leave here, God forbid, and I get a citation over on 8, then he's gonna write me a ticket. That's the,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to make arrangements tomorrow to try to figure out how I'm gonna get this thing settled. Now, some of these defendants, they don't do that. They throw it away. They say, I'm never going to Martindale again. And so what? Well, we have on the 61st day, by law, those accounts can be sent, those citations can be sent to our office for the collection process. So we get them on the 61st day. And we basically we put them in production and we will export them to a secured FTP site that we have. Nobody has access to it except for us. We'll bring all those cases over from Letty's office. We'll bring them in ourselves and we'll put them in production and we'll start working. And whatever we collect, we'll send to the court and we can customize basically a work order, a work plan that you guys want. You tell us what you want and we'll put the instructions in the work order and we'll do whatever you want. You want partial payments? We'll take partial payments. You don't want partial payments? We won't take any partial payments. We have some courts that say, don't take any partial payments. 60 days has been long enough. Collect on full amount. Once you collect on that full amount, send it to the city. And that's what we do. So we'll do whatever you want us to do. We'll customize the work order.
Since we're talking big dollars there, keep in mind that probably half of that money we actually have to give to the state. He may collect 160,000, but a lot of those fines are actually
Go to the state.
go to the state.
Not necessarily, not all of it. I know Omni fees do. If those cases have been sent to Omni, Omni's gonna get their money. And that's a state agency. Those are where you go and get your driver's license, basically. So, but for the most part, the majority of that money will come to you guys.
Well,
And then at each quarter, we've got to give the state their part of it.
Yeah,
So what I know what you're saying, but the net effect for us is there might be 160 out there, but there's 80 potential for us, is what Dwayne is saying. Even though you give us, we still owe the state a portion of that because of where the tickets are drawn and that kind of stuff. So,
but the other
Still,
thing that happens is if somebody speeds through Martindale and then they're never held accountable, then the next time they speed through Martindale and they're not held accountable, they don't have any reason to not speed through Martindale. So by holding them accountable, then they're gonna slow
They're
down.
gonna slow down the next time they're coming through.
And that's what we want. is
Yeah, and also they
compliance.
could say word of mouth, hey, they never get tickets, don't worry about paying your ticket, you know?
Yeah,
It has never occurred to me not to pay my
I-
ticket, just to like throw it away and go, oh,
yeah, me neither.
I picture
I live in the
somebody
city- I live in the
arresting me
city
at
of
work
Buda.
or something.
And Buda Municipal Court we went back in 2000 when I built my house up there in Buda. I moved from South Austin to Buda. I'm originally from Austin. Basically, it was this size. Back in 2000, there was 2,200 people living in Buda. Now there's 22,000. You guys,
Come this way.
what I see in Buda is exactly what I'm seeing right here in Martinsville. You guys are going down that road. You're gonna be pretty soon. How many people y'all have currently living here?
1,100.
How many?
1,100.
No, it's about 1,400.
Give it 10 years. 10 years, you'll have close to 20,000.
Yeah.
All we need is a Cabela's.
No, we need a regional treatment plan.
You know,
what changed it?
what's that?
You know what changed it?
Change what?
Population boom.
Oh, absolutely. And then
You know what did?
Cabela's?
No, you can start selling alcohol by the drink.
Oh,
Back then you couldn't,
yeah. Well, it was a dry town.
it was.
Yes. Yeah.
So was
I know,
Martindale when I
that's,
first moved here.
Yeah, it was dry at Texas State University in San Marcos.
Yeah.
And they started coming in for drinks.
Then all the boom came.
But basically, it's a win-win for you guys and for us. The only one that's not winning is the defendant. But shame on him and her because basically they've had 60 days to pay that citation and they decided not to. So we'll add 30% on top of the original citation if we have to work it.
Started out in Fentress.
He started out.
In Fentress?
Live Barber, McCrary, and Purdue are the three large boys on the block. We've been around since in the early 50s. We originally started with delinquent property tax. And then in around the late 1990s, legislature passed, we could start collecting.
Well, I
delinquent
thought I
life.
went to the bathroom.
And it was
I was
cool.
kind of
So,
ready.
But if you have any questions or concerns, all you have to do is, let the mayor know or let, Jared know, and we'll get you that information.
Are the warrants mostly Texas or did some of them
So
Allison?
they're from all over.
Most
They're
offenders,
mostly.
most offenders are from Houston. Out here. They're coming through from Houston.
And we get a lot going up and down the 35 corridor from San Antonio to Austin to Dallas to Lord knows Laredo. I mean, we get them from all over.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, so the motion carries. So thank you for coming out tonight.
Thanks for the clarification.
You're
Yeah,
welcome to
my
stay.
pleasure. I'm actually on vacation
Oh, dear.
but I told my bosses that I wanted to come just to make sure that, if y'all had any questions or concerns, I would be able to answer them for you. But this week and next week I'm on vacation. so I'm
Okay,
gonna go
Get
back-
out of here.
I'm
Go
gonna go
have
back home
fun.
and be with my family.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, guys, thank y'all so much for allowing me to come and visit. And, all of you guys, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
you.
And
You
a
too.
blessed holiday season.
Thank you.
Enjoy your
Okay.
time
Thank
off.
you.
Jared, if you need anything, I have your email. You have mine, you call me.
Will
Let
do.
me- Let me know, okay?
Sounds good.
It's a nice evening. Okay, bye, Mayor. Take
Bye.
care. Okay.
Thank
Very
you.
professional, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll go back up to the top. So we already covered the lift station and the Northwest River Road. There's a couple of things that have happened. Just in the last day or two, we've gotten the appraisals back. And so we're kind of working those, talking with our attorney. We have to have a second opinion as far as what these appraisals are. So we have to open up a discussion with our attorney about that. The other thing is the water board met and, as we had discussed last meeting, we were asking them to pay, $500,000 for the water pipes. And, they met with their board and they to pay that. And so we're gonna have to probably go into some kind of negotiations and find out where we can find the money for that. So Jared, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, because they're not playing ball, they're a utility located within our right of way.
Yeah.
And my understanding is they have some responsibilities to relocate that utility based on our request. So that could turn into a messy situation. If they're refusing to fund it and they have to move it for this project to proceed. But we'll, hopefully it doesn't turn messy.
Are they even open for discussion?
Well, when I haven't talked to their board. And I have the opportunity to attend, last Wednesday. But where I left it with their general manager, Steve Fonville, was he was going to take it to their board and say, let's create a committee of some kind to work through the different options to work on this. And my understanding is that they just flat out said, no, we're not paying for it. We're spending our money on other things and we're not playing ball with the city. The city wants to do this, the city can do this. Well, they're a utility in our right of way and they kind of have to do it. Right.
This is Martindale Water.
Yeah.
So technically they have, is it like an eminent domain situation?
I don't know how that plays out fully, but that's kind of the advice that our engineering firm has given. If we start getting to like legal advice, then we're going to shift the conversation to the end of this table and close shop and
Okay.
and have
Don't forget,
an
we were also
executive session. But, you know, that's a good point. When it was included in the grant was we were going to replace that asbestos pipe with modern pipe.
There's an asbestos pipe. Our water pipe is asbestos.
There's
There's not-
several
Talk
hundred.
more about that.
Outside, it's on the outside, it's wrapped,
It's a coating.
like it's for,
Got
it's
it.
for,
It's pretty
it's for
common.
It is
insulation.
common.
You'd never make it to the inside.
It was common at the time.
Never, not even when it.
No, but it's something they test for every year.
Yeah,
And it hasn't test positive.
It's like how a lot of
It's
the.
still, it's a latent hazard, right? That
Sure.
could,
It should be
It's more,
changed, but
it's more for removal. That's when it gets.
Well, but what do you
Uh-huh.
mean when you say if they refuse to pay them, they have to move the utility, they have to move the water?
that's what we want them to do.
my understanding is if there's a project within our right of way and they're existing within our right of way, we ask them to move. So if it was the power company, they move their poles.
Yeah.
If it's the telephone company, they move their wire.
Well, what if they
If
don't?
it's a water company, they move their pipe. But the problem is the expense.
Yeah.
And they're
Hey.
just, and
Because they don't
and to their
It's
defense,
just that-
this was something that was accounted for in our grant
That's what I was gonna
initially.
say, that's part of
And
it.
we were going to cover initially and they're saying, oh, thank you so much. And unfortunately, in the 4 years it's taken to get to this point,
Prices.
the prices have more or less doubled. The cost of the project has doubled. So the scope of the project has shrank considerably. And at this point, like we're cutting everything, even the kitchen sink. And this is one of those kind of kitchen sink items that we gotta cut out of the
So-
project.
My main concern would be if it goes to litigation and we start delay, it's already been 4 years.
Well,
Is there
we're,
a time period that there's a problem with the grant?
yes, there's a very real problem with the grant. I don't have that off the top of my memory, but it's something I could talk about.
There is a point that you have to get certain
Oh, yeah.
things done.
There are several items within the critical path to completing the project within the time frame. One of them is the acquisition of the easements that are needed. As the mayor mentioned, we've had some issues with the appraisals that have come in. Quite ridiculous issues that we're gonna have to look at. I'm still trying to figure out where it comes from, but for an example, if a property owner's asset of whatever kind is located in the city's right of way, my thought is, as a layman, is, well, that shouldn't be part of your appraisal because that's not your property. It's in the city's property, but it's included in their appraisal, and in some cases, it's substantial, has a substantial effect on the total appraised price. So those are the issues that we'll be working with our attorney or engineers to get resolved.
So
So those, the land acquisition, this. I don't know what happens if we get to the point where we acquire the land. We go to bid, we select a contractor. And they start putting shovels in the dirt. And the water pipe's not moved. I don't know what happens.
So,
But there's probably a case to be made of. We're putting shovels in the dirt because our grant is coming. And you guys can move your water pipe now. Or you're gonna have to provide some other service. I don't know how it's gonna work. We're about,
We've got things.
we're about 8 months from that problem, I think.
how long?
8 months.
So
So
I
that
guess-
problem like really
I guess-
hits, maybe 6.
I guess my point is, worst comes to worst, you said, okay, you're gonna leave the old pipeline there, we're going.
Well, the problem is,
We're gonna move it, you guys reuse it. Make a couple of moves, move it over, re-weld it, blah, blah.
when they're digging the hole to put the stormwater culverts in under where the, because they're doing a 10-foot deep ditch, you know,
Okay,
12 feet wide or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's gonna get,
it's in the way.
it's in the way.
On Darko's, on my side, yeah, it is.
So the question, they're not even willing to.
Well,
talk
we
to
need to
the-
negotiate with them.
They-
We don't
they're
know
not
what
really
they're
talking.
willing to do
They
or
didn't wanna
not.
talk to us.
Well, we've got to get back to them. So they had their meeting on Wednesday night. And
See,
so
the-
we're right in the thick of negotiations right now.
See, the issue I have is during this whole process with Mr. Turk and everybody, I never saw Bardendale Water Supply over here, very little during the conversation.
Their engineers were brought along as a project commenced. Art, Freeland and Turk met with is it
Dan.
Guerrero. Their engineer. And on a, I mean, not all that frequently, but as the project plans were progressing and we're thinking like, oh, water's gonna be here, but then we're talking about, well, when we move water to the other side, water's now on the other side, given them where the easements are. They were brought up to speed on all of those things and basically consulted with them and said, hey, it's okay if we move it over here. Yeah, go ahead. And it's okay to move it over there.
Yeah.
And we had their engineer look at some of our cost estimating on what we thought that part of the project was going to cost, around $550,000. And he goes, yeah, at least that might even be a touch low. And because our engineers don't do water systems all the time, they thought it was fairly conservative. So it could be 500,000 to 600,000 to move that water. And that's where they said, well, we've already got projects in Spring River, we got projects in here, we got projects over here, and we've already maxed out on what we can do. So
I guess the separate question, I mean, can they, as a water company, apply for a grant
No.
to replace these?
I think any point right now, a grant is not feasible.
Because it
Because
takes
of
you
time.
long.
Time factor.
We would need,
A loan.
we need to be loans. And you know, let's say if the city owned the water utility.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be the city's bill to cover.
Yeah.
And we would probably do it through some sort of debt
Yeah.
or using our cash savings, or some other way to get it covered. But the city doesn't own that utility.
Right now, the water company is in the process of changing all the meters. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
So those are expensive and they have 1,000 customers. You can do the math yourself, how much
They're
that's costing.
doing half this year and half next year.
Well, I can tell you from my experience dealing with pipelines, when you start talking about asbestos, it's a pain. It can be extremely costly for disposal. If you have to, of course, it's a small diameter pipe, but that could be another.
I don't know if it's that small.
I mean, I'm talking, what I was doing was like 36,
Well, yeah,
36 big stuff, but that was always,
Yeah.
Another foot for him. It's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, little stuff.
It's not even a pipe.
But, that's, okay, that's all I gotta say.
But we'll keep y'all updated. Right now, we're kind of right in the thick of things. So,
But the problem I have a real concern is the clock is ticking
right,
and.
we did
I
get
mean,
an
I mean,
extension.
If, are they, I mean, if we go in, as we all know, if we go in litigation, oh man, you really got a problem.
Well, the thing is, we did get an extension. It did come through in the last couple of weeks. We have until January of 2027
To complete the project?
to complete the project.
That was
And
the mod.
I thought that was this one.
You thought that was what?
They're the quail run.
The add-on.
I thought this one was a December 2025 kind of look.
No, this is the one that,
Maybe it's December 2026.
December, I think it's 1 point. The other one.
But
is
it's
not much faster.
it's to the point now, like we
gotta
try to
get
figure out
going.
these titles and land acquisition and things. You know, they gotta get done soon.
Okay, I'll look at my emails and I'll write y'all an email.
Sorry for all the questions, Mayor.
No, that's good.
Have concerns there.
What's the plan B? If it gets tighter?
That's,
That's my concern.
There is no.
the hard part is,
We've been working on planning.
you know, we have a contract with the state that's really a subcontract, the federal government, and like, we're on contract to put this thing in,
Yes.
right? And we don't wanna, we can't take,
Default.
we've been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for several years now. And if we default on that contract, then all those bills become ours to pay. Like,
Can't do that.
we're at a point of no return. Everybody's got, you know.
We're on the hook for over $500,000.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking what the plan B is, because otherwise it won't bankrupt the city.
Yeah.
We'll bankrupt somebody.
We'll bankrupt somebody, there you go. Yeah,
We gotta go forward, it's obvious.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see
Well, that was an update. That's kind of not an update. We'll move on.
So
Okay,
I guess my point, most likely we won't be breaking ground next year.
we're hoping to break ground in January.
that. Of
Really?
2025.
We were,
Well, at least by February.
yeah. We're hoping to have the bids, like, the package is ready.
It's ready to
put out.
go.
So people are always asking me, so I mean, is it
I mean,
fair to say sometime in 25?
we set the bid out 30 days, get responses, do the sealed bid, you know, opening up the bids, award the contract. And then based on whatever's in that bid for their mobilization period, and then boom, starts getting turned. So like, but there's some things that have to get cleared before we get to that point, like the land acquisition easements and other things, but like, we're right on the cusp of go. So if everything wraps up by December, we could have shovels in the dirt in February. Potentially, maybe March.
Except for the water line, well, that's being discussed. Okay.
And I'm curious what happens if we do start putting shovels in the dirt. And then they can adjust their water lines after we're done. Be more expensive for them. We had the hole already opened up. Sure. Be smart of them to use the hole that we dig.
It would not be fun for the homeowners on River Road.
No.
No. We'll get it figured out. I'm confident. Okay, let's move on to 2.2.
Building permit software. So we went out for bids for internet-based building permit software. I haven't found a city who uses paper-based like Martindale does. And we have a hard time keeping track of those records and staying up to date processing, and also makes it, having a paper-based process is really inefficient on staff time. So we went out for bids. We got 3 proposals back with a range of costs. What I want to get a sense of council is, we're prepared to have a demo of each of those three, at least two, probably all three, if there's a desire for it. Want to know if council members would be interested in participating, and then if so, we can arrange on your schedule. So, let's throw out some dates, if you guys don't mind. That first week of December, if we schedule stuff that first week of December, no?
I'm on vacation. Maybe my wife
Next
or
week's,
my wife on vacation. I mean,
the week. Ideally, I'd want to be in a place where we can make a
Well, what-
selection on December 12th, considering that
Yeah,
the agenda item 3.2.
right, exactly.
I don't necessarily want to have the demonstrations in city council meeting. How about that week, of
Of
the
the ninth.
9th? Obviously, we'll have to work with them on what their availability, but we'll try to have it, that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Could we do it like at 4? Does it have to be in the morning or can it be in the afternoon?
We can try to do it 4. If we do it at 4, we might be in a situation where we're doing one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, or something like that, if we're limited to 4 o'clock.
Well, I mean, I'm really the only one that would be an issue for, not anybody else, I don't think.
We can accommodate it. Whether you want to show up here at 4 o'clock on 3 days.
You gotta work it out, just let me know. It's fine. I mean, you gotta wait a week before, I'll just zoom in, but.
Yeah.
And the only other option would be the weekend.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
I don't know that anybody else would want to do a presentation, like, I don't know if anybody else would.
I don't know if the vendor would.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Anything else? Just the two of you?
Laura.
Oh, Laura, okay. Do you have any calendar conflicts?
I'm good.
We'll look at do it at 4 o'clock. Maybe we can do a 4 and a 4:30.
Yeah.
To keep them quick. And if we can keep them really quick, a 4, 4:30, and a 5:30. We'll see if they can do that. I might not be available for that 5:30 a final exam that evening.
You could do it Thursday, 4:30 and 5 as a workshop before the meeting.
That's an interesting idea. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
try
I
that.
like that too.
I like
Not
that.
timed with the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
That should make sense. Go right into the meeting.
How long do you think the demo is on?
We can request them to be limited to 30 minutes. 30 minutes would be, you could probably get through it in 20, but 30 would give you a chance to ask questions. If you go longer than 30, you're getting into some really nitty gritty that I don't think would have a lot of, it wouldn't be a salient characteristic at that point to discriminate one vendor against the other.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's that there.
Okay, moving on to the financials for October. And I think everybody's had time to look this over, so.
Yeah, we don't have to go through every number, but if you don't want, but go back up to the bank balances. You see that first section there? The operating bank balances total $127,037 for Rockport Bank. Go down a little further, the tax pool investment balances
Emergency fund.
are, whoops. You see, 259,000 in the emergency fund. Go down a little further. You're going the wrong way. You're going up in mine.
Here we go.
Mine.
My
The other
computer
route.
did that too. I think they redid a setting where my trackpad is.
Yeah, you
opposite
can reverse,
lane.
you can reverse it, yeah.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I was doing it to me too. I was at home trying to read.
Little further. Okay, $415,000 in the Public Funds Investment Act account, 58,000 long-term capital total funds of $860,000, $602. This is, probably pretty much the low point for the year of our cash balances. Property taxes should start coming in, next month. There you see the fine amount at $259,385. Yes,
The
sir.
park mobile money is exactly the same as the last report,
I transferred it
just recently.
today.
Just FYI.
Yeah.
And then when do we do year end, where remember we got the 5,000 that's in the general fund that needs to go and be taken out of?
Yeah, when we, officially close the books, because we'll have a bunch of general fund money we'll need to move to.
Yeah, because we didn't take that 5,000 that's out of the general fund and take it, or get it from the park mobile reserve.
What he's saying is the parks budget
We went over by
over
$5,000.
budget.
And it should have come out, once it went over, it was supposed to come out of this and it didn't.
Yes.
So when we have to have that meeting, right? And then we'll fix all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, while we're on the parks, is any update on the sign? Or the signs, are they still waiting?
I reached out, so thing is, I reached out and this person is kind of, has a history with not being processing our orders on time. They say they're processed. They say that we're gonna get back to me with confirming, and he just seems to be busy on the call that I gave him. I'll be more pushy this coming week, but essentially that's the answer I have for you as per this week.
I had the same problem with Home Depot, so don't think.
I think Adrian had to go over his head
Yeah. That's what he
to
did.
his supervisor.
It's so sad.
Is there someone else we could use in the future?
He's our something like our account manager.
And we
Park
request to
mobile
be
sign?
transferred to someone
Yeah.
else?
I'm like I said, I can be pushier next week, which
I'm
is
just in
Go
general,
get 'em. Go
like-
get 'em, girl. Go get 'em.
even if you're able to get them, maybe we need to complain to the person, to whoever's over his head, that we would like to be reassigned to a different account manager so that we don't have to do this every time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll do that.
Just do me.
It's a natural consequence as a businessman, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, that's how he's gonna get
If you have a
the
reputation for.
information,
Yeah.
like, his boss will then know he's not good at handling
I'll
our
push
clients.
the, gotta get with Mr. Mike, Mr. Holmes on driving those depots down. We haven't done it. But if you get close, let me know.
Okay.
I can push that a little bit on my side.
I'll give you a heads up.
Thank you.
Okay, the next report should be the general fund budget report.
It's pretty straight up.
And this is gonna be the first month of the new fiscal year. And this report now is matched up to the budget for both the income and expense, and the budget columns are comparable. We went last year for half the year with it being kind of hard to do that. But you see the revenues here, not much in property taxes is coming in October. You see sales tax, franchise fees up against budget. If you look in the far right column, we're roughly 8 1/3% through the year in October. So that's kind of the target you're looking at. Going down to,
Tell Tommy to go get that.
Oh, thank you.
so there you go, $26,000 in income is all we had in October. Not a big revenue month. That'll spike in December especially. Expenses, so you see these departments, see it where it says 01-15. General government, and then
So it groups, so all government activities, that's general government activities, that has public safety activities, and then like, parks or something activities, so it groups them by category.
Right here.
it's the, see the O1 dash, that's general government.
Yep.
So this, like
Yeah.
the payroll and that
On mine, it says page 1.
department is going to be, that's gonna be like, Deanna. And no, you're in with me. You're in finance and admin.
Yes, that's
The
right.
next one, but Deanna and the clerk at the front desk.
Yep.
Are in that line item right there. Mhm. And you see taxes and benefits. That, the reason that, see, that looks very high compared to the wage, the taxes and benefits, that's because workers' comp expense is in that. I need to figure out how to split that out by department. It's just in the general, and it's a whole quarter's worth of expense. Maintenance and repair for general government, building maintenance, office equipment, auditing. Okay, keep going, and then we'll get into, you know, other things for general government, IT service, building permits and inspections, that's gonna be the Bureau Veritas expense. You see insurance expense, so these are all general government kind of things.
The Bureau of Veritas expense, when we were doing the budget, I remember a couple of comments being made that there was some sort of a misalignment between what they had billed us for and what we had sent payment for, or no, what we had asked them to do and what they billed us for, or something, where the mistake was in our favor. Have we gotten that straightened out? Is that?
I don't remember that conversation.
It
I
had
might
to-
not have been here.
Yeah,
You were
I think it
Was
was,
I?
Yeah,
so we have somebody that, if we ask for an inspection, Bureau Veritas will go do the inspection, give us the inspection report, but they may be very delayed in sending us an invoice. And so that we have you know, we're not seeing the expense right away.
I bill us monthly.
So and hopefully under the new permitting software, we're able to align things a little bit better in that one, but.
Because you don't wanna give the permit to get the money.
Yeah, well, get the
not
permit
about
and the money
that.
coming
It's
in,
about-
but it's also the expense going out.
yeah, it's the expense that we need to
But that's
be
what I'm saying,
paying
we need, but
Veritas.
that's the thing, we need to know that expense, so we can collect that from the client right away. Otherwise, we're giving a permit and we're collecting
We're guessing.
potentially too little or too much.
Right.
That's what you're getting at, right?
No. It was a good try. It was also an interesting point, which also could be wrong. I mean, could be causing a problem. No, I was talking, Jared answered what I was asking about, which was the relationship between us, between the invoicing and us paying them what they're owed for having completed the inspections already. It's not about the resident, like, at all.
Because if you look at last year's budget, or you know, we collected this much in building permit fees, but we only paid building permit fees of less than.
Portion of that, yeah.
Portion of that, and so there's delayed invoicing.
It's ill-gotten gain. It's not ill-gotten. I'm kidding. That was a joke. There was nothing ill about it.
Okay,
Is there such a thing?
No.
Not in my bank.
Attorneys, he's hypothetical, of course.
I think that was stopped from any other contrary.
all right, can we go down a little further? Basic utilities for the city, street lights, et cetera. You see the payroll and overhead unit reimbursements from the utility coming in there. So the general department had an expense of $16,000. Then we get into administration and finance and payroll, benefits, merchant fees. That's one thing, merchant fees. I'm in the process of shutting down all of the legacy accounts now. These fees are passed on to the customer, but these are residual fees from the prior month.
Okay.
Public safety is next. You see how much, for example, we spend on salary and wages for police, their benefits, vehicle maintenance, their radio dispatch contract there. Keep going. Keep going. Supplies.
Yeah.
Vehicle operations, that was some, piece of equipment, I think a mount for a laptop or something is in there.
Yep.
So you see $21,000 spent on, police and crime, prevention. You go over to the far right column, that's 8.4% of the budget. I said that we're 8% through the year, so that's in line. Municipal court, you see their salaries. If you go back up to the top, the, city's portion of the, citation revenue, I believe it's about, keep going up to revenues.
Page 1 of that.
Yeah,
report.
keep going up.
4713.
4713,
Yeah.
so about $4,700.
No, I'm sorry, that was the line item. It's 5388.
Yeah, I thought it was 5,000 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
5,300.
So $5,300 in revenue came in, for the city's portion of court. So now go back down to that section 15 or 16 it was.
20.
Is it 20? Okay.
20 score.
20's court. So you see expenses, there's payroll, their merchant fees. Keep going.
That staff development, that was a really good deal. We're sending Mary Alice to municipal court training, and that 500 includes housing.
So you see, $4,500 in expenses. So we did not spend more than we brought in last month anyway. And now we can see that on these reports, and before we really couldn't identify that. So total public safety, you see 25,576 spent, about 5,300 collected. All right, you can go on up.
Can I back up 1 second? I'm so sorry to be asking questions. I know we want to keep moving forward, but I just saw something and I was confused what I'm looking at. So on page 2, you're like, we're on 65 now, Laura. On page 2, it says 015900 utilities. And then it says electric, gas, and then there's street lighting. And street lighting, if you follow it across, is 529. The budget was 7,000.
For the whole year.
Yeah, so we've spent 7.6% of the budget for the whole year. And where is that? Because like the electric and gas is 224, so I'm thinking that's in this building.
It is.
So then where is the lighting, the street lighting, is it just right in front of this building or where's
Whole town.
the whole town?
Whole town.
Okay,
That's a pretty much a static number. Street lights are anywhere from $10 to $13 a piece, I think, something like that.
$10.
a month for the
Per month.
electricity for it.
Right,
Gotcha.
but the wild thing is that I guess it doesn't have its own line item. But we get like $3,000 a month in franchise fees from Blue Bonnet to put their poles on our right of way.
Oh,
Yeah, we're only spending $500
for the lighting
for the light,
of the pole.
for the lights that we hang on them.
Ah, so that $3,000, where's that?
It's in a line called franchise fees up on
Oh,
page
well,
1.
because it's a franchise fee. There,
Uh,
see? I'm more than just a pretty face.
Keep going.
Okay, so, we paid the
There it is,
3,
4090, see, 4,195. We also get about $1,000 or so a month from the water utility.
Did that one?
I'm going from memory. Another big one we get is from, Spectrum Cable.
Mhm.
That one only pays quarterly. It's about $3,000, so about another 1,000 a month for cable.
And we'll have another cable one, once the Rise folks
oh,
start.
right,
start
right.
paying.
Yeah, I think I've already gotten my first report from them. I don't think there's any money on it yet, but
Yeah,
they've
well,
started reporting.
In the years.
So with regard to those poles, that fee would go up if there were more poles, because,
If there are more roads that their poles on.
gotcha. So it's by the
Yeah.
road, not by the pole, that they calculate what the franchise fee would be.
Yeah, and
more or less.
I
I
don't-
mean, it might not be that direct, but in effect, because it's only for the city limits.
So-
And right of ways within the city limits. And so for there to be more,
Right,
it'd have to be,
right.
it might count if there's more customers,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we don't have a lot of like homes being built within the city limits right now. So
Another thing that's interesting is they are our largest property tax payer. Blue Bonnet is. All of their lines and everything that go through here, there's a value established on. And they pay property tax on.
Nice. I didn't know that. Okay, so then so by the end of the year, do we end up spending that whole 7,000 on street lighting?
yes.
Gotcha. I'm with you now. Okay, we can go back to wherever we were. Thank you.
I mean, there used to be some controversy over who pays what light, which was always
Yeah, we've
silly
got-
to me because it's such a small amount, whether a light faces towards someone's driveway or towards the street. We haven't had that dispute in a while.
In a long time.
Those sort of things.
Yeah, we've got a
sometimes come
couple
up.
of little stragglers on the end of the bill that got added
Yeah.
because of that. Only two though. That you can keep going past court and, there you see parks. This is the part of the parks budget that's in the general fund. That equipment expense is porta potties, and then we've got some electricity and a water meter. So those are the only small parts. And then there's supplies, there as well. So you see, in the, general fund, we spent about 24,000 more than we brought in the current month. But if you look at total expense across there, 8%. So that is in line. For the first month. Now utility fund, not so much.
Yeah,
Here's utility fund. You see, we brought in about $29,000 in the month. You see the wastewater, solid waste breakdown, late fees. Now, come on down. And we'll look at expenses.
So 80 is the clerks.
80 is,
Or really the reimbursement.
80 is the utility fund or, business type activities you see it up there. So you keep going down, okay, 99.98, that's the reimbursement for the clerk at the front desk that we charge to the utility fund, and then there's the administrative overhead. And now you see getting down into sewer, you see the big expenses here, $15,470 of expense in wastewater treatment plant repair and maintenance. That's largely pumping for the lift station. Fees and penalties, it's not really a penalty, it's that $1,250 fee to
Oh, to TCQ.
TCEQ. Wastewater operations, that's gonna be like Pete's monthly contract plus anything else. And then the big one, also you see under capital outlay, that 15,603, that's the pump.
Okay.
It's not paid for yet. The bill's not due until December, but it was, received then.
Wow.
In October. Then you see the solid waste expense, 15,188, that's Texas Disposal. Write them a big check every month. And lab fees for, I guess, the, treatment plant,
Yeah, that probably needs to be moved up.
up to 82, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, I went through these things forwards and backwards. This is my first month on this new, format, so I missed that one. That one needs to go up in the 82 section. I'll get that fixed. Keep going. But even it's budgeted in the wrong place. Did you notice?
It probably is. I'm already missed it.
Okay, so you see, we spent $27,000 more in October than we brought in. Because of that.
It's not the way to start the year.
And that's just the Crockett lift station problem. We haven't gotten to the Madison lift station problem.
Yeah, I think 10,
So,
maybe not.
Well, it's about 7, I guess.
Okay. And then we have special revenue, hotel tax, parking. For the parking mobile.
This was a good time to tell Steph if you want money.
Yeah, and that's why I said you
I'll
don't.
talk to her tomorrow.
Okay, keep going, yeah, that's,
It's just a plan, so.
spent very little special revenue money.
Can I bring up a hotel tax issue real quick? If we want to try and collect, because legally, we talked about, we can send letters to everyone, request their documents, give a 4-year look back.
Mhm.
If we're gonna do that, we need to send it out before the end of the year, because it's 4 calendar years. Once January 1 kicks in, it was a year of collectors. Just FYI. Some point we'll talk. Just writing something like this is, we have a
We
list.
might just end up losing a year.
I'm
I'm not
just
sure
saying,
if we'll be able to adjust to it.
as long as you send a certified letter beforehand for the people that you know, the request is made. Application's been made.
Maybe.
We'll talk about it later. I'm just throwing it out there because there's a lot of money.
Did we end up, did we make a decision? I mean, of course I know this, I'm just asking you. Did we make a decision about the night that you brought up the thing where you can ask, Airbnb to automatically collect the tax?
It's drafted. It wasn't quite ready for tonight.
Oh, okay,
We're trying to work it. We just. think
Gotcha.
What's going on?
Yeah, what I was bringing up is that there is a statute that says if there is a delinquent party that has never filed, they still have filed with the state. Okay, so they filed their state money, and they just neglected to pay us. If we send a letter before the end of this fiscal year, 2024, the look back is 4 years. Once January 1 kicks in, we lost a year. So if you send a letter, the way I read the government code, you send a letter, you request it, and it's been dated, they are obliged to provide that. If they don't, then we go to the state and request that document. And in theory, we can then go and collect from them.
I see.
You can send them to collections in theory. You know, I mean, it's a decision the council can make. You know, but going forward, that's a better, you know, that's the cleanest way. They don't have to ever worry about collecting.
Okay. And, see that, Parks Grounds Maintenance, that 2063? That's that, contract for the people who mow it, that is part of the special revenue fund. Paid for the park mobile money. And each month, I transfer what is brought in, and then I transfer that amount back. I haven't gone to the trouble of creating a special bank account just for parks. It seems like we can just transfer it in and out of the general fund.
Well, and this year, there's no line item for parks. It's all coming out of Park Mobile.
No, there's some of it in the general fund,
It's two
the
different
porta
budgets.
potties and the utilities were up in the general fund.
But I mean, all the parks fees are gonna be paid with Park Mobile. There wasn't a line item.
The landscaping fees, wasn't 100% of all fees.
Okay. So special revenue funds brought in $6,100 more than we spent. And, I think that's all of the financial stuff.
That might be something I'll look at that.
Yeah, I don't think we did a line item for the.
Trying to think, this last month I went to the, state convention for, government financial officers. It was in San Marcos. And, that was nice. Got to meet
I bet you guys are some wild boys.
I know, I was like, I couldn't think of anything more exciting than to run the counties in the same room together, but,
Jeez.
we had our little Halloween party and everything over there.
Oh, right on. I like that.
There you go.
Chief here?
I did see him.
It was me next, but because I can't find it.
Thank you, Dwayne.
You're welcome.
Oh, it said the city clerk.
Yeah,
did.
yeah, the city clerk is next. Deanna.
Oh, my
you're up.
paperwork is at the
Yeah.
very end?
Yeah.
That's weird. Oh, maybe because of the motion. Okay, okay,
Just a minute, Deanna's up next.
okay. So essentially, this is in regards to the boxes that are
Right,
found right on that wall over there. I can confidently say that for the past 2 years, it all started off with Adrian and our former utility clerk, assistant city clerk, Christian. They established um, the disposition calendar system that we work with. It is a what's it called? It is by the Texas State Library and Archives Commission, aka TSLAC. And they handle different retention schedules, and it is a state and local government retention schedules. We follow the local government. And I believe our court system also follows these in regards to their cases. Half of these boxes are court boxes, and the other half is essentially utilities and any form of document that's found in the office that has met their retention schedule. There is documents that are permanent documents and are not found in these boxes. We follow essentially mainly general, is very helpful. I'm just doing a little rundown. And things such as, yeah, records of government bodies, financial records, accounting records, fiscal administration and reporting records, payroll, etc. Now to be more specific to what we are shredding, this is utility account customers that they've been started and closed accounts with the city. They've met their max of 3 years of retention after closing that account. And the reason we go through professional shredding rather than let's go get a shredder and start shredding this manually, it is cost efficient for the city. As you can see, it's lots of papers that I would have to manually sit there and probably spend days just going through it. And also it is a liability purpose. We, as the city, the shredding companies offer, they offer, what's it called? Oh, it's leaving my mind right now. But essentially, if something was to go wrong and disclosed, such as a social security number, that does not fall back on the city. It falls back on the company that we hired, and they provide, I guess, some sort of bond that they are responsible for that information that got disclosed. It doesn't fall back on the city, and that's why it's a cost for us, but it's a peace of mind at the end. And yeah, so it's utilities. It was utilities accounts.
How old the dates are.
Right.
2010, 2008. And anybody who wants to look in any of these boxes, if you want to see what we're shredding, please.
Yeah, but these schedules right here, this position locks, my bad, give you, they're mainly all utility customers. Look at all that list. They're all utility customers, and they're by sections, they're by disposition logs. This one is specifically UT 5016B, which is service application and deposit record. And then fiscal, it always leaves my mind, FE. Okay. Refund or deposit, unpaid balance, 3 years, I believe that's what it says. Yes, 3 years. So we go here, and these disposition logs, we didn't just say, oh yeah, let's put this information. They are composed by TSLAC. And then the date, 2000, and this is the start date, this is the end date. So they've been calculated, those 3 years have been calculated by then. And the ones that are yellow are the ones that aren't ready as of this day to be shredded just yet. So the city will continue working on these and slowly comply and shred them yearly. So this is probably our biggest pile because it has not been done for a while now.
We're trying to get all of the ordinances, all of the minutes and agendas, everything inside the building, because out in the shed, we get bugs and mud daubers and
it's just safety. If there's a flood, we don't want to end up with a bunch of wet papers that we don't know what they are, and then we don't know if we're throwing away valuable stuff or not. And in the end, we will have all of our records digitalized and safe from further damage. Some documents are damaged. And then court postings, so they're, their reconciliation, their daily reconciliations, utility reconciliations, and the retention is 3 years. We can do the start and end, but it's obvious that 2014 is more than 3 years. And then moving on to the next one, these are pretty much by TDS. It's invoices that we've paid, the city has paid. We already been audited on all these. So, we have our budget to look back into, but, plus 3 years. It has to do with the fiscal year. So to 2011, 2010, the FE, and plus 3 years went 2011. It's just, it's obvious they need to go. We need the space, and it's a liability that's been taken care of already.
and if you ever have to go out in the shed and try and find something,
Right.
you've got to dig through lots of years that you don't even need to have there.
Yeah, and essentially by digitalizing our paperwork, it is way easier to complete a public information request because we know where to look. And oftentimes, public information request, and just imagine me looking at these boxes and saying, where do I look?
And we've done that.
And we've done that, and we've established this because of those problems. Same thing, daily reconciliation for utilities, 2012 plus 5 years. Come on.
Yeah.
Right, ready.
Ready to go.
Daily court, it's essentially, we're looking at just things that we've been audited and budgeted for and history, but it's not valuable history because we have something that backs it up, such as our budget and audits.
So these logs that she's presenting, we retain as a part of the permanent record.
Mhm.
That way, if someone says, give me your daily utility reconciliation from 2014, we say, it was shredded.
Yeah.
They're gone.
That way we have the trace.
And they're not, you're hiding information from us. Nope. We just don't
Any
have.
questions or concerns?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, just being transparent as to what's being shredded, so don't get scared as to what we're doing.
Mhm.
Did you hire to do?
We are not hiring, we haven't signed the contract, but we are looking to contract with Compass Recycling. It is based in New Braunfels.
We've been pricing different people.
Yeah, we approached one, and at the end of the day, this one was the lowest cost, and it provides the same service.
Can you provide a service like after April 15th, after income taxes for city people? to come?
Well, we've been talking about having a shred day, that kind of like citywide cleanup.
Mhm.
But we haven't gotten serious about it yet. We'll have to bring that to city council.
Right.
See how much it would cost
San Marcos. does
the
that.
city. I know, but San Marcos has lots of money.
The stations.
You wanna go to
Funny.
3.3 and approve the
Right.
disposition?
Oh, yes, let's go to 3.3. And if there is a motion, and before counselor leaves, we need you to sign our little documents that we have. So if there's a motion to go ahead and have these boxes shredded,
I'll make a motion to approve the disposition of records per disposition logs.
okay, thank you. And is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And none opposed, so the motion carries. All right, so we've got that done. So now we're ready for police report.
You want to take a break?
Thank you, Daniel.
Hour or two.
I'm gonna get the fire extinguisher.
Give me one second. I'm trying to pull up your graphs. I found them earlier. Now I can't read. They were right after, they were right after.
Any questions for me? Anybody, anything?
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am?
Are you on duty right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Might have an emergency. I have to meet with you at some point because I need your help looking at some text dot data about. And, I have been using the databases that they offer, but I just need somebody that looks at that data more often and goes, oh,
Okay.
put this or try
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is the stats, the police stats for October 24. We wrote 101 traffic citations. During that, actually 69 citations, 32 warnings, 101. And go down a little bit, that's a different type. Again, speeding, 59. 59 of those were for speed at various locations. We got possession of drug paraphernalia. Fail to maintain financial responsibility is a big thing. That's no insurance. I think someone asked that before. Disregard no passing past our vehicles. We got a city ordinance violation for a burn ban violation. And we'll keep on to the patrol activities. This one was pretty good. So we had, we're pretty busy this past month. We had 3 crash reports. Those went up. We went a couple months with 1 or 0. But we have 44 calls for service, 33 park checks, 1 animal call, 11 Sis County and EMS, 28 motor assist and public contacts, and 1 offense report.
Are the crash reports, are those generally on 80? Or are they, like in the streets of the town?
It varies. We don't have a lot in town, honestly. The majority are on 80 or 1979.
Oh, wow.
So very.
The code, the code enforcement reports, 5 citizen contacts, 3 door hanger notices, 4 reports written, some code enforcement research, that 1 presentation that he did last city, or he did another presentation to someone, I tell you, we had some people, and then a summons requested. 1 summons requested from the municipal court.
Does anybody else notice that no matter what day of the week it is or the weekend, that there's a jillion times more traffic on Highway 80?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's harder to turn around and do traffic stops out there now.
About that.
It's just not safe to try to turn around on someone without getting our car T-boned or something like
Yeah.
that. So there's a lot of traffic violations now that we just can't, it's not safe to stop. It would hazard everybody else.
So city council, folks who might be watching the YouTube, the local planning organization for highway stuff, for federal highway funding called CAMPO. It's like CAPCOG, but it's Hayes, Caldwell, Bastrop County, Travis County, I think Williamson County. I think that's probably it. Anyways, they're doing a survey. And I sent everybody a link. You put it on your Facebook feeds, put it on the group Facebook, get it out as much as possible. What it does is it has an interactive map and you can click on locations and you can leave a comment about a safety issue. And they're trying to develop a regional safety program that will be used to fund projects. And so like the Quail Run and 80 intersection is one that we've had some struggle getting any traction on. They put out some blinking yellow lights. Still haven't seen the turn lane though. That we've been asking for a long time and advocating for a long time. So if the community really gets out and engages on that project, help bring some notice to it, and we might be able to get some movement on funding for projects through here.
We've asked, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So take a look at your email, post, there's some social media stuff that you can use in our pre-made, post pictures and things.
Two quick add-ons to that. One is if you're gonna send it out, make sure that you, tell whoever you're sending it out to that the deadline has been extended to the 28th, because it says all over the place that the deadline was like, yesterday or something. So it looks like it's too late to send it in. So make sure you just tell people, because they didn't change it on the actual information or the survey. And then the other thing I was gonna say is under resources, under earlier studies, there's a link to a study they did of Caldwell County. And it has like all of the problem areas and how many crashes took place in Caldwell. It's very interesting since that's like our stomping ground. But if you're interested in seeing the work that they already did to try to figure out what's going on in Caldwell, there it is.
I would have preferred some lights at 1979 and 80, just because more people go through there, but more people go through there safely. We had a lot more crashes at Quail Run, but those crashes weren't really people coming off of Quail Run and they were straightaway crashes. The most of the people going straight are just not navigating that turn appropriately. That's
How
the
about
majority of the crashes that I worked there.
I'm really surprised by that. I would have thought it would be from people turning out.
No, speed, really people going north on 80 and going across and hitting that bell to navigate that turn appropriately.
Yeah,
Or coming south and then just hitting that guardrail, and just taking it out.
that guardrail gets hit a lot, it seems like.
Is there any way to tell, how much of the traffic that's going through on 80, through Martindale on 80 are local people, like residents?
No, there'll be no way to tell that. We'd have to,
Stop everyone in Ashland.
yes, somewhere that
Where are you going?
Where do you live?
yeah.
Why are you going?
No, they do,
Yeah.
TxDOT does traffic counts occasionally. I've seen the boxes out there where they would do a traffic count,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
there's nothing that would say who lives where. and
Right,
anything like that.
right.
They do
yeah,
traffic
that's kind of a
studies.
dumb.
Have you thought about becoming motorcycle cops?
You want to buy me some motorcycles?
Well, are they
Rick
cheaper
is-
than, are they
You want one?
cheaper than patrol cars?
Our insurance won't want you to have a motorcycle.
Yeah, but those are so
Well, you
cool.
could get around in traffic better.
And y'all could wear
Turn
some
around and-
cool boots.
We
Get
did
and a
a
leather
reality
jacket.
TV show about, like.
Chips.
What was that old show?
Chips.
Chips. We could
Yeah,
have
getting
Mitch.
hit by a
There
big
would be
truck on a
Mitch.
motorcycle.
Eric Estrada.
Yeah. It'd be Mitch.
He even looks like
He
him.
hardly-
Yeah, I know. Mips.
So that's that's what we've been doing. That's all of our stuff. Y'all have any questions on any of that stuff? I've got some other things.
Oh, I got a quick comment.
Yes, sir.
We got the T-post in at Quail Run and Northwest River Road. And we got the one, we think, at the Skulls and Northwest River Road. So if you need from me and Mr. McGovern to put those stop signs up.
So- Yeah, so in a previous, and I got that on my notes, I was gonna go get the part. So you gotta get the stop sign up on, Quail Run. We got the T-post dug in, so the T-post is really at an angle, so we
Yeah.
gotta put the sign on it. We gotta,
I've got a little bit.
yeah, the sign will be straight, but the pole's gonna be crooked, just because of the way that intersection
Do you
is.
have another sign already?
So we have signs up, yes, sir.
We can put them up.
Yes, sir. And so,
Did we ever get the signs for
No.
Butterfly Meadows?
So there's been a sign delay, but as you guys approved in a previous city council meeting, the re-layout of that intersection there. We're ready to put those stop signs up and create that three-way stop sign on Northwest River Road, right there at Skull.
Yeah.
So we're ready to get all that done. We got the, T-post up put the signs up. So once we get that, we'll have those stop signs there, and then we can start reworking that intersection to get when the signs come in, the one way and everything else.
Nice.
But probably getting the stop signs up and getting everybody used to those,
Yes.
early on is what we
Do
need to do.
you need Mr. McGovern and our assistant to put those on?
Those stop signs?
Mr. McGovern, we're the sign installers.
They are, yes, if y'all would install those, I'd.
You want, we can,
Do you have event staff on the back of your shirt?
no.
I do have safety vests though, reflective safety vests.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
I've got one.
That's
I
what I bought.
got one too when I used to jog.
Yeah,
Sometimes nice to talk.
yeah, y'all can put them up, yeah, absolutely, I thought that was what the deal was. I thought you guys were gonna put those up.
The only thing is, we got a pilot, we gotta drive the other.
Crosstalk on the mics.
On the Riverside, he's gonna have to get the driver to get that one all the way down.
Yeah,
Those other two are ready.
the one we had talked about?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So, for the past month or two, I don't know if y'all have ever noticed, well, actually years, Gary Job Corps has come here and their kids have helped out a whole bunch with just every kind of event that we've had here. And a few months back, they came to me and asked if we could help out their kids or their students, not kids. So, what they wanted was that as part of their corrections program or anything like that, that they could do ride-alongs with us. We worked with the city
I wanna
attorney.
do a ride along. Are you kidding? That would be cool.
We worked with the city attorney. We got an MOU with them. And, they're from the Department of Labor and everything else. So it took a lot to go through all their stuff. But we finally got the MOU done and we started our ride-along program Monday.
Cool.
So we got our first, ride-along and he's been doing really good. He's enjoying it. So it just started.
Congrats.
So we've
So
started
how
that.
old is he? Is he like 17 or 18 or is he an adult?
No, he's an
They're
adult.
all over 18. We didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all of them are over 18. Everybody there.
He's tall
Here.
too.
So we're gonna continue to do that to try to get a lot of their students through, and it helps them out for the future.
Yeah,
For everything they're doing. And, it builds a big working partnership because they've been helping us out for years and,
Yeah,
and probably it's a good thing to.
I agree.
Well, and gives them a good connection to the police and not believe that police are bad people or against,
And it also it reflects positively on Martindale that y'all are.
Yes.
That.
I thought it was a good thing. A lot of people turned them down when they were talking about it. A lot of other agencies. We're just right here. And then, like I say, they help us out so much.
Yeah,
They've been
absolutely.
everything, our trash days, everything else.
Well, that's so cool.
Our code enforcement presentation from last city council, is there any questions on that? Okay. None? Because we're still going to move forward on everything we're doing with that. So
Yeah.
we're moving forward
Okay.
with that. Santa program, I know a lot of people talked about that in the past on social media and stuff like that. I don't pay no attention to that, but, what I've said all along is that it's a community function. And so I've got with Brown Santa, I did it last year and I got with them this year, and we're moving forward with, assisting the county with Brown Santa, and they're gonna assist if there is anyone in the city of Martindale that needs assistance through the
Okay.
Santa programs. And we have the applications,
At the front desk.
they're at the front desk. Here's what the applications look like. They're setting up on the front desk. So if y'all know anyone or someone that needs this, we do have the applications here. We're assisting, with the Santa program over at the Dollar General. We put out a toy bucket over there, and it's got a sign in front of it. So we're working and monitoring that toy bucket. So if anybody wants to go by there, the Dollar General is assisting us with that. And,
I called them
So
several times. Nobody would ever call me back about that. So glad they listened to you.
so
Yeah.
So I've been going over there and had meetings with them and so forth, and we're gonna work, and when it comes to that day, we're gonna try to help them. If there's anything in Martindale, we're gonna help deliver any presents that come with that. So we're still gonna do our part, to help out.
Mhm.
We don't have our own
Right.
loose end here. We want to work with Brown Adams and
Because we
monitoring.
don't have a nonprofit. so
Right,
we
it's an
can't.
established 501c3 there, and they have their board and everything else already at the county.
Mhm.
And so they're working with us on that.
Well, if we can help you with that, though, let us know.
I will. And that's pretty much, all I got. Anybody wants to come run next Thursday, Thanksgiving morning?
Walk.
You may run, walk. I'll be
Trot.
dressed up like a turkey raising money.
Oh,
But that's in
Where
New
is it?
New
Braunfels.
Braunfels.
in New Braunfels?
In green.
Oh, fun.
So,
I didn't even know
The
that.
turkey trot or
Yes.
something?
You can go with me if you want.
You're going?
Maybe.
Are you running?
No, I'm not running.
I
I'll be
don't-
walking very slowly if I
don't
go.
ever-
Thank you, Chief.
that's all I got. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna move on to 3.2.
You can gobble.
Motion to combine December 5th and December 19th city council meetings and just have one meeting, which would be December the 12th. And last meeting, y'all expressed a desire to do that, so I put it on the agenda.
So we just need to make a motion?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll make a motion to combine the 5th and the 9th, 2024 regular city council meetings to a single regular city council meeting on December 12th, 2024.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Hey, the motion carries.
There's nothing else to address, is there?
Yeah.
One
there's
more.
One more.
This way we had good stuff.
Okay, so we have discussion, possible action, motion to approve a resolution for the disclosure of financial records of the Martindale Library. And we are open for discussion.
So I know, Councilmember McGovern has taken a look at this. He brought some documents to my attention. The 2022 tax returns and we saw some numbers that seemed kind of high. So we compare those to our annual Texas Public Libraries annual report that the city signs off on as a government entity that provides funding to the library. And just comparing the two documents were wildly different. And I think we went back and looked at some profit loss statements that we're able to get from the library, copies of those, and it's been somewhat difficult to put numbers together, frankly. So I was talking with the mayor about, she's asking me, what can we do? And well, we can come up with a resolution for council to consider. And so what we came up with is before you tonight for consideration. I don't think it's at least from my standpoint, like it's, as a city administrator, it's not my place to set policy in this area. I don't intend to. I don't think this is an action to defund the library or anything like that. It's really just there's likely a very reasonable explanation for the numbers. One's looking at one type of report and others looking at a different type of report. It makes sense sometimes, as we saw in our own audit tonight, that different pages on a report don't always reflect the same numbers and there's an interpretation that goes into it. So hopefully that's the case. I expect that to be the case. But as an example, the taxes had, $73,000 in salaries and expenses for 2022. Our understanding is when we put together the contract, the $24,000, that was 2022, but in 2023, which hasn't been filed yet, our understanding of the total salaries expenses was 24,000, and the study was funding that. So there's some wildly different numbers that the city council might want to consider as we proceed into a contract negotiation for 2025. And that's the reason you see the resolution before you tonight.
And this library has a new bookkeeper that is looking at things.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, our CPA who filed the 2022, 2023, and all the previous tax returns, she's CPA, used to work for the city. No longer around. Mr. McGovern found the discrepancies in there. The IRS didn't care. No, they've had them for a couple of years.
IRS does not look at nonprofits.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, our CPA left in July. So we recently hired a bookkeeping service. Now, CPA work from home. Okay, our bookkeeper, we have to pay. I think she starts Tuesdays next week. And she will look at the IRS forms, all that, get that stuff straightened out. Will y'all be happy with that? When she gets it all straightened out. It may not be done.
It's not really a question for me.
Well, I don't really understand what the issue is with just seeing those things. I don't,
And they are public documents.
so
And
if we make the resolution or we make this motion, really all we're saying is we just want to see those documents, right?
No, we want to have the discrepancies fixed.
Okay, but we want from now on, we also want to be able to see them in the future, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And there's certain things required by law that we have to disclose.
Do you want me to read the resolution?
I'm okay with making a motion.
Okay,
All right. I'll make a motion to approve resolution for the disclosure of financial records of the Martindale Library.
okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
So they are going to, this is a question, a clarification, just so I understand. So according to this, they're gonna take the information that they already provided and then go back and have their new bookkeeper go through it and just fix whatever discrepancies are there, or in the alternative, if there's a reasonable explanation for why those discrepancies exist, because there could be, then she'll explain the circumstances as to why they may conflict with each other, why they're different numbers. And then they'll resubmit that together. And then at that point, what?
This requires nothing. This is simply a request.
Mhm.
All this is the city saying, this is our position. We would like for these things to happen.
Right, but I meant like, and so once that happens, then what? Then we do a different, then we look at that new information and then we do a different motion about what to fund? Or is it just an
Let me
automatic that if this
let me-
matches, then we would do the funding?
Let me answer. So our position at this point, it's not in the resolution, but we would like to see the documents straightened out to what this resolution says. We will not sign the contract with them and they need it by the end of the year. So really, if things can be straightened out before the next city council meeting, that would be ideal.
And the next council meeting on December 12th, almost done. And she just started on, or she starts next week.
And I think last year we didn't get it signed until in January. And I believe if I remember correctly, the library, as long as they're working on the contract, is okay. It doesn't have to be signed.
Get our money.
I
If we
mean,
don't sign a contract, we don't get money that's budgeted. Isn't that correct?
but yes, it is correct. But I believe that your new bookkeeper will get these things straightened out and because right now what we're seeing is that the profit and loss statements, the IRS tax returns and the TSLAC documents all have different numbers and do not match. Like the TSLAC numbers say that there's a income of $48,000, whereas the other documents are much higher, almost $100,000. So we want to see what the difference is.
Well, and if it were me and I didn't, these discrepancies were incorrect, then I would want that corrected. You know, I would
Yes.
want, as the library, I'd want it.
The TSLAC is salary. The IRS includes compensation for grants. Okay, and that TSLAC doesn't ask for that. That's why I'm part of that discrepancy.
Dwayne, will you be working with their CPA on this at all? It's totally,
That's
No.
conflict of interest.
That would be a conflict of interest.
He's helped us review the documents.
I mean, I can pull tax returns and stuff, but
I mean, you're our expert. But I don't expect anything formal, but would y'all typically work with
No.
with a bookkeeper with Lever or not?
No, it was, just to be clear, it is not legally a conflict of interest. It can be colloquially dubbed a conflict of interest, but it is not one. If there was an agreement for Dwayne to do that and he wanted to and he thought it was appropriate.
Yeah.
He could,
Yeah.
but it doesn't sound like they have a CPA.
We don't, we have.
Right.
Plain book.
Oh, I tried the bookkeeper, so sorry, the bookkeeper.
yeah,
And she's familiar with nonprofits, what we are legally required to provide.
And it's my understanding when she saw the document, she felt like they needed to be straightened out.
Yes.
So let's just give it a few weeks or a month and see what happens.
My question is, if she doesn't get all that IRS stuff figured out, are we gonna have a contract? No, you said you're not gonna sign it, so we don't get them.
But I also believe we can go into January, because I remember last year,
Why she doesn't have the finish
but
I
by the end of
don't think we
January.
can speculatively,
Yeah.
it's a decision of the governing body. He can't answer that until the question is presented to the governing body. That's.
Yeah. All this resolution says is we want to see these documents and we want to see them straightened out.
and there's certain things we're required to disclose, and other things we don't, we cannot disclose.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
I don't think we had oh yeah, we did have a second.
Yep. Second.
Sorry.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, and I
Is
did
that an aye,
say,
Mr. Clinton?
Yes.
yes,
Can I get a copy of that, please?
yes, ma'am. Okay, now we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Hey.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at, 9:06.
I'll second that.
I was 6 minutes off.